the first apartment, it was a beautiful 1 bed, 1 bath that was unfortunately way out of my budget. The kitchen was super beautiful and lighting was great. It had a washer and dryer unit in addition to amazing views of the city, plenty of space, but unfortunately there was some carpet in the bedroom. But even with that, there were also just so many great features that made me love this apartment, even though it didn't check all of my boxes. The bathroom was really great, and it also had this beautiful walk-in closet with all this built-in storage. Definitely more space than I would ever need. Overall, starting very strong for my apartment hunting. So this was a studio in the same building, and although it is a smaller space, it pretty much checked all my essentials still for living space. And even though it's a studio, I like the layout where there's still some separation. There's also a super nice closet with the storage built inside, and going into the bathroom still very nice features, like plenty of space. And I also really like the views from the apartment. The next 3 apartments are from a different building. Overall, the studio was very affordable. It had a decent layout in the space. Overall, the features were nice, but one thing I noticed about the apartment was it was very, very dim. I don't know if it's obvious from the video, but even the bathroom and the closet was also super dim. I honestly thought that the lights were maybe just old and starting to go out, but at least there was a washer and dryer, and again, there was a decent amount of space in the closet with the built-in storage that would be super helpful. This is a different layout for their studio, and I did like this one more. It was still a bit dim, but the lighting was still better than the first one, and I think it has more separation in it. I also decided to check out a 1 bed, 1 bath, even though it was out of my budget. The lighting was a lot better here as it was a high rise, but again, there was carpet in the bedroom. This is a 1 bed, 1 bath in a different building that was right around my budget, but could go slightly over depending on other fees. But regardless, it was a great space with great lighting. I liked the windows. The only thing was there was carpet in the bedroom, and also there was a slightly weird layout where you had to go through the closet to get into the bathroom from the bedroom, and there was carpet there, but regardless, I thought the features in this unit were still pretty nice overall. For our last apartment, it is a 1 bed, 1 bath, and the price is a lot lower than the other apartments because this is slightly out of the area that I originally wanted to live in. But otherwise, I thought this apartment was beautiful. The kitchen looks great. The lighting is great. All hardwood floors, no carpet anywhere. The bathroom was super nice, although it is a penthouse suite, so some features would be different, like the flooring. But also look at this massive walk-in closet. Like, it was fantastic. The unit also had this massive balcony that came with it, but the main downside is that the apartment is next to the train tracks, so it could get loud from time to time. I also felt that the clubhouse needed a place in the video on its own because also it is gorgeous. So those were the apartments that I toured. I think I looked for apartments around May to June, and then I signed my current apartment in mid-June. And I did move already, so comment down below which apartment you think I signed out of all the ones I showed. And since I went through the whole apartment hunting process, I thought it would be really helpful to give some tips and tricks for anyone that might be also signing an apartment soon. These are things that I definitely would have kept in mind more that might have helped with the decision making and all that. The biggest tip I would say is to go view the apartment unit and floor layout in person. So I went through a lot of different websites that I was interested in and looked through all of their floor plans and what they offered. And once I decided on like one floor plan or maybe a couple, I scheduled meetings with the apartment management and then went to go see those floor plans if they were available in person. I thought this was super helpful because I could see the lighting and the space of the apartment in person. And I think it just gives you a much better idea of what the apartment actually looks like. I think there's a lot of cases where people will go to an apartment listing and it looked completely different from what it's listed on online. Luckily, I didn't have that happen. I had one situation where the apartment looked kind of different and it wasn't really what I was expecting, but I had already kind of decided at that point that I did not want to sign there. So tip number 1, go view the apartment in person. Tip number 2 is ask for additional costs and fees up front. And what I mean by that is a lot of times apartments will only list your base rent online. So when you see a 1 bed, 1 bath being listed for $2,100 a month, that's only your rent. That doesn't include your power bills, your water bills, any like trash and sewage, like pet fees and all of that. So I think it's super important to get that information from your apartment building or the leasing agent in order to know how much exactly you'll be paying each month to the building. With some places, the fees are really, really bad and it can get up to like $100 or even $200 for extra fees. So that is one thing to definitely consider when you are signing a place. I got really lucky with my apartment where they only had $26 in fees for trash and pests and $15 renter's insurance, but everywhere has to have that, in addition to free parking, which is very rare in Atlanta. Tip number 3 is knowing when to look for apartments and lease. This kind of only works depending on your schedule, but I think the best time to sign an apartment is actually during the winter months. So that could be like from October to about February. I had to sign around June because I just graduated and I was starting a new job, so I needed to move out quickly. But if you have the time, I'd recommend searching during those off-season months because that's when rent prices will be lower. Lastly, understand that it is very, very hard to find your perfect apartment, and most likely you will not find your perfect apartment. It's very common that you won't find an apartment that checks all your check boxes, which is completely normal. I think try not to get your hopes up too high because then you might leave feeling disappointed. In the end though, I'm still pretty satisfied with my apartment even though it doesn't check everything that I wanted. Apartment hunting can also be a long process, so I would say don't be afraid to ask people questions, whether that's about like how to pay rent or how to set up Wi-Fi in your apartment and like how electricity bills and power bills work. If people are also interested in hearing like those more specific details about actually getting an apartment and setting everything up, I can also make a video about that in the future. So that is the end of my apartment hunting video. I hope you enjoyed and that it was maybe a little helpful if you are planning on looking for an apartment soon. And I guess this is the portion of the video now where I will reveal which apartment I chose. Drumroll please. I chose apartment number 7. Overall, it was a really beautiful unit, and for the price that it was listed at and also free parking, I kind of had to sign, I feel like. In addition to it being under my budget, I thought it would be a great way to also save up some money on the side. It's definitely not perfect. There are things that I wish were different, but in the end, like I think it's still a great option for my first apartment. And I'm really glad that I found this place. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.